Everyone, we've got David Wotherspoon with me this evening on Shaky Sport and Journeys. David, thanks so much for coming along, mate.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
No, you're welcome. I suppose we've known each other now for about 10 years, mate. Since you were, or maybe longer actually, back in your Hibs days.
Aye, be 11 years probably.
Back in your Hibs days, mate. We've obviously been a Hibs fan, just try to steal the occasional ticket so I get a free pie at half time. It was always appreciated.
You're always welcome. Just get anybody in.
I know, just to get the fans in. So, if anyone doesn't know, I suppose this will probably go out to all the Saints fans and the Hibs fans. David's played over 240 caps for St Johnstone and 132 appearances for Hibs. So I'm a bit of a stalwart in Scottish football now. I just give it a good chance to hear David's story, and I'm looking forward to it, Dave. So, mate, where I wanted to start was, I suppose, as any, a lot of young people will follow you, mate, and follow football across Scotland. Where did it start for you? Obviously, being a sort of Perth lad and a Saints fan, where did it start? Where was your early sort of football memories?
Early football memories before professional. When I was young, I went to Celtic Youth Boys. Came up through their academy. I went through when I was about 12 years old. And that was just a great experience because the coaches through there were brilliant and looked after you. And that was my first sort of thought of when I was going to be a footballer. I was like, this is my chance to try and do something when I was that young. My family obviously made a lot of sacrifices because they had to travel through to Glasgow every night. I think it was 3 nights a week or 4 times a week, which was a lot to ask, but they wanted me to have success, so they pushed me as much as I could. That came to an end towards when I was about 16, and I moved on to Hibs. And
so you were young, you were 16, you went to Hibs. I was at that age.
Yeah, I was that young, and I felt like that at that point in my life, not career but life, that I had to move to Hibs. I felt like there was more opportunities there for me. And I would maybe get more success going that path. I reunited with a coach that was at St Johnstone when I was even younger. He was at Hibs at the time, so he brought me through, and he actually drove me from Perth to Edinburgh every two. Alistair Stevenson. He's still at St Johnstone now.
Right, okay.
And he brought me through to Edinburgh 3 times a week or something like that before I moved through.
So you were at Celtic, mate. You're just you're a young lad. You're not even a teenager yet. So between 12 and 16, is there ever a point there when you think, oh, wow, I've got a chance of playing for, well, if not the biggest club in Scotland? Is that even going through your head at that time, or are you just enjoying playing football?
No, I mean, obviously you're playing at Celtic and you're like, oh, I'm brilliant, I'm great. But I was brought up. I feel like I was brought up well by my parents to keep myself grounded and keep myself down to earth. And you work as hard as you work, you'll get your rewards in the end. And that's always been my beliefs is you put the effort in, you'll get your rewards. So it was certainly something I went about high school because I was at Celtic. I felt like I was the best player in the school and everything like that, but I didn't show it. I just carried on enjoying myself. And
it's quite good that you suppose you've got that mentality, because you've always, I've known you for a long time now. You never come across as an arrogant sort of guy, but I suppose you have to have quite a lot of self-belief, and even at such a young age. And I suppose I can move into that a little bit further down the line. But when you were that young at Celtic, was there any sort of standout lads then when you were playing at that club? Or?
Yeah, well, at the time it was you're young and you don't really know as much as you do now, obviously. But at the time there was boys that were sort of shining out in front of folk, and you would think, oh, he's going to make it, or he's going to be a top player, but that sometimes doesn't happen. And I've seen it plenty of times that players that are touted for like big futures they would just not go down the right path, like maybe their attitude or just like being around certain people or the way they're brought up, or just certain things that can always affect your career. And but I was fortunate enough to stick by what I believed, and I was surrounded by some great people and a great family.
Yeah, and I think so. Going to Hibs at 16, I didn't realise it was that young. So and you were in the sort of phase of going from what Hibs. So I take it under 21s, and then was it Scotland under 21s as well during that phase or was it Scotland under 19s? How did the sort of next sort of 4 years go for you?
So at Hibs, I was only 16 years old when I came, and I think it was under 19s that I moved into, and that was like I was still the youngest sort of player there to be involved in that, and I wasn't getting much game time because there was older boys that needed the game time, but I was getting pushed, and I was getting in the right direction. I was getting on the bench for the reserves when I was only like 16, 17, and the coach, the managers that were there, they always looked towards the youth as well. So it was great because they recognised you, knew your name and everything like that. So it was always positive, and I just really enjoyed my time there because everyone was so welcoming when I came, and when I got into the reserves, like I was on the bench and stuff, and the top players that were there that weren't maybe not playing for the first team were always encouraging and always welcoming as well, which was great.
When you were sort of there, mate, did anyone take you under their wing? Was there, I suppose, when did you get your first sniff of sort of SPL football? What age were you then?
Well, I made my debut when I was 19, but when I was about 17. John Collins was in charge at the time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I must have been 17, 18. I can't remember. I must have been 17. And he had me training with the first team and stuff. And I played reserve matches and that as well. And I think I was close to sort of getting towards the first team. From what I was reading, what I was hearing from coaches. But unfortunately, he left sort of near that time that I was sort of pushing for the first team. And then when the new management came in, it sort of changed that a wee bit. And I stayed with the under 19s for another year or so, where we went on to win the Youth Cup and the Youth League. We done the double, and we had a great squad, and there were 7 of us from that squad that moved into the first team, which was like brilliant for the club and a recognition for the coaches that were involved.
Well, Hibs sort of went through a phase of, under John Collins, I thought, playing a certain style of football and a certain level of fitness. What was it like? Because there's rumours about John Collins' training and people didn't like it. When you were sort of there, did you see it? Did you hear it? What was the sort of their atmosphere like?
I mean, because I wasn't in the first team dressing room or anything. I was still with the 19s dressing room and stuff. And when I was getting roped in, it was on certain days that I was getting roped in to train or whatever, and it felt very like it was my first taste of first team football. So it seemed very professional, and what he was doing was hard work, and it was a graft, and it was great to be involved in, and some of the players that were still there, like I'm sure Scott Brown was still there at the time, and I was training against him a couple of times, and I was just like, this is crazy. I'm up against him, and but it was great to be involved in. And then you went and done stretching after training, and the stretching was nothing I was used to before. Yeah. And you're like, how are these boys doing it? And you're sitting there trying to do a certain position, or I think it was nearly like yoga, and I was like falling all over the shop. And they've been doing it for years.
And who came in after John Collins? Right. So who gave you your start when you were 19?
Well, it was John Hughes that gave him a start, but before that it was Mixu Patalainen that came in after John Collins.
Right.
And he didn't really. I mean, I came in and trained with the first team a few times when he was there, but I never got the opportunity to play for the first team. And we were having a good career, good season. Sorry, with the under 19s, we were doing so well in the league and the cup. So it sort of worked out. It was meant to be sort of thing where I stayed there and we went on to win the cup and the league. And then he wasn't there for long, and that's when John Hughes came in just as I was going into the first team after that season, and he gave me my first start. It was a lucky thing in
your career, John. Was he? Did he help you?
Yeah, massively. Yeah. Although obviously he gave me my first team debut, so I've got a massive appreciation for him and what he was trying to do, and he was always at the wind up. He was always wanting the banter, and it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable to be there and be part of it. And I was lucky to get my first team debut on the first day of the season. I'd played in the friendlies and stuff like that. And we went on a trip to Holland and played over there, and it was great. And then when it came to the first game of the season, I was supposed to be on the bench. So I turned up on the Saturday, and I was like, right, I'm on the bench. This is brilliant. And then he pulled me into the office with like an hour and a half to go, and he's like, listen, Mama's ill, so you're going to have to.
You had Mama covered, mate, for pace. That's for sure.
His trickery. I was like, oh, I'm a good substitute at that. No, but he was ill, so he was like, right, you're starting. I was like, right, okay, get myself psyched up.
Yeah.
But no, I was absolutely buzzing. I couldn't
buzzing for it. And
the adrenaline running through me that day was crazy.
And I suppose it's a big club in Scotland, isn't it, Hib? So it must be a massive achievement for yourself and your family, delighted. And I suppose going back to Yogi quickly, is there any sort of stories that stand out? Any banter that stands out? Any story you can remember? One that was fun?
There's a few stories, to be fair. There's a few stories. He would always come in and he'd be like, right, this is like Butlins, this. You've got it easy. And then he'd turn to Chipper and he'd be like, right, Chipper, what time was your mate up in the morning? Be like, aye, he's up at 5 o'clock. Aye, what time did he go home? Aye, he went about 7 o'clock at night. He done a full shift. You're in here, you're running about for an hour, and then you're going home. It's like Butlins. You get the ice cream. Chipper's got the ice cream for after your training. You're just having a jolly up.
Character. He was a grafter.
He was great.
Hardest man in Leith, I heard.
Oh, you didn't want to get on the wrong side of him because you knew he's an angry guy. But at the same time, he was soft. Yeah. He's a great character and a great guy, and I still to this day I would still pick up the phone and speak to him if I ever needed to, because that type of guy he would give you advice whenever you needed it.
Yeah. I suppose I don't dwell too much on in Hibs' career, but you were there for you played 132 caps, mate. It was a long sort of time you had with Hibs. And is there any sort of moments you'd pick out and think, obviously the absolute stunning goal against Hearts? Like I was in the crowd that day, to beat them in the derby. What an absolute inspirational goal that was. I think the deflection took it 30 yards into the top corner. That's a memory that stands out for me. But is there any sort of fond memories Hibs you've got?
Yeah, I mean, I've had. There's loads. There's actually loads. That the 4 years I spent there was great, and I loved every minute of it. Maybe a couple of times towards the end of the time there that I was disappointed with, but most of the time it was brilliant. A great club, great people around it, and the players changed a lot, I would say. Compared to what I'm used to at St Johnstone, they hardly changed at all. Whereas at Hibs, it changed a lot. Year in, year out, there was players coming out, players going in. But I mean, my first season there was my first game was probably the biggest highlight. If it wasn't for the Hearts goal, it was massive. Getting a start on the opening day of the league at Easter Road, and then scoring a goal and getting man of the match was just to top it off. And the kit man just came to me after the game. He was like, "Keep your shirt, and here's the ball. You get it signed and keep it." And I've still got it to this day up in my cupboard. So absolutely brilliant.
you mentioned some in their disappointment, and I was there that day in 2012 for the cup final.
Which one? Which one?
Well, when we got stuffed by Hearts. So you obviously part of the squad under Pat Fenlon, and that year moved you right back. How did you cope with that, mate? Because mentally, to be completely left out of such a big occasion, probably believing that you should be in the team. How do you get yourself back up again? How difficult was that?
It was heartbreaking for me. Like throughout the time at Hibs, I was playing week in, week out. If not, I was on the bench and coming on, and I was constantly in the squad throughout most of my career at Hibs. And I remember we played Aberdeen in the semis, and I was on the bench. I was gutted with that as well. But I came on in the semis against Aberdeen, and I felt like I actually done well when I came on. I only played, must have been like 10 15 minutes. But it was hard because we were in the final of the cup, and it was against Hearts. It was like this is what Hibs fans want, and what I'd been dreaming of, playing at Hampden, the final of a cup. You want to win, you want to play. And then to turn up, and I think it was that morning, he came into the room and he was like, listen, I'm going to leave you out, and you're not on the bench. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I felt like I'd been working so hard and playing so well, or even if I wasn't playing well, I still felt like I was in for a chance for being on the bench or getting on.
Yeah.
But to not be involved at all was just horrible, absolutely horrible. And then to watch them play and lose the way they did, just I felt for them as well. I felt for the team. And yeah, I was phoning my family and loved ones and just saying, listen, I'm not even involved. And the other bad thing about that is it was my brother's stag do on the same day. So if I wasn't involved, I could have been down there. Could have been in York at the races.
Oh no.
I was gutted.
Yeah.
Absolutely gutted. But no, obviously I was disappointed. But yeah.
And I think you've got to be quite mentally strong to pick yourself up and move on for that. Because I think it was straight after that you got the dream move to the boyhood club, St Johnstone.
No, that the Hearts one. I'm sure the Hearts one was the first cup final we made with Pat Fenlon. And then we got Celtic in the following year, the cup final.
Yeah.
But after the Hearts game, that was us for the summer. So that was it. Like I left, and I was
quite a big disappointment with all the summer, man.
Yeah. So on summer holidays and everything. So, but it got to like pre-season time again, and I was like, oh god, I've got to go back, and I'm still thinking about this final that we've just lost, and I wasn't even involved. So the manager phoned me, Pat Fenlon phoned me, and he was like, listen, could you come in so I could speak to you? And I was like, right, not a problem. I'll hear what he has to say. And he came in and he was like, listen, I want to put it behind us. I maybe made a mistake not putting you in, but I want to move on. And I was like, yeah, well, I can't hold grudges. We've got to get on with this, and I want to do the best I can for this club. And we're into a new season. We've got a fresh start, so let's go.
I think. See, what advice would you give? Got the experience behind you now, and knowing what you do now. Now would you? How would you tell a young person to cope with that? Because that's a massive sort of rejection, isn't it? Would you just say you have to? You get on with it. You got to be strong. You got to speak to people. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, like you said, you've got to speak to people. You can't bottle it in, but you've got to go the right way about it and speaking about it, because you can't just go off mouthing and all that sort of stuff, because that just gets you in more bother. So it's just speaking to your loved ones and people that you appreciate advice from, and you've just got to speak to them, and I was lucky that they gave me the right advice and just said, listen, it's done now, you've got to move on, you've got to start again. And you'll prove them wrong. Basically, that was the word. Just go out and prove them wrong, and that's what I had in my head. The next season was, I need to do better. I need to do better and get myself in that team and no one can question it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen again the following season. But
and so after that, mate, was there any interest, from down south? Was that something that you ever get a sniff at going to play in England? Was it something you wanted to do?
So we had that final year. That was my last year of my contract, and we got to the cup final again, and I was like, "Oh, brilliant! We got a chance." And I got left out at the semi-final as well against Falkirk. We won in extra time 4-3, but I got left out again. I was managed to see my brother. He was at the stadium and he was just over there, so I went and spoke to him, and he was just like raging, but same as me, obviously, just gutted. But yeah. We got to the cup final, and we had a game before the cup final against Dundee at home, and I was like, right, this is my chance to put myself in the team.
Yep.
And I just remember, I can't remember what the score was, but Louis Stevenson picked up the ball on the left side and he floated across into the back post, and I bulleted a header right in the far corner, and we won the game, and I scored, and I was like, right, I've got a great chance of being in the squad now. Surely I've got to be in the squad. But at the same time, I had in the back of my head, I was like, he's going to leave me out again.
That's unheard of, isn't it? David Wotherspoon scoring a header.
It was a bullet. Absolute bullet it was.
Yeah.
And if you see my celebration after it, you can see on my face that...
You're like, shock?
No, it wasn't. It was the thoughts that were going through my head was, if I get left out of this cup final, that's me finished at Hibs. Like, I can't handle this. And you can see it in my face. I'm like, I just scored a goal and you'll remember me, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that went through my head. It was like, if he doesn't put me in the squad, then I can't see my way back from this.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't put me in the squad again, and I was absolutely devastated again. 2 years in a row we got to the cup final and I didn't get involved. And then summer came again. I was like, my contract's up. They wanted to offer me another contract, but it was like they cut my wages, and they weren't. It felt like they didn't want me to be there anymore.
Yeah, okay.
But he pulled me in again, just like he did the last time, and he spoke to me and said, "Listen, I think I made a mistake." I was like, "You've made a mistake twice. How can you rectify that?" And I had it in my head. I was like, I'm going to prove them wrong. Because I've got to. And they went away. So they went away that pre-season to, I think it was Spain, Malaga or something like that. And I was like, I haven't got a contract yet, so I'm going to stay behind. I'm not going to go over there when I'm not got a contract and I don't want to get injured and stuff like that. And that's when St Johnstone came calling. But I got wind of it was Sheffield United were maybe interested in me going down.
Yeah.
So there was options there, but then things didn't turn out, and I think it was David Weir got the job. So my agent was like, "You might have a chance of going down. He's interested," but he signed someone else, and then that was me. I was back to square one. But that's when St Johnstone came and Tommy Wright had phoned me.
You didn't get a chance to go down there, mate, and play?
Yeah, a wee bit, yeah. I mean, I'm 30 now, and obviously you want to make most of your career, but I would have loved to try it down there.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it was meant to be, because I signed for my boyhood club.
Yeah.
I always wanted to play there at some point in my career. I wanted to go and play for St Johnstone. I didn't... and it was meant to be, because that year was probably one of the best seasons I've had in my career.
I was going to say, mate, and going to sort of better times, I know you look back in 241 caps and you're probably playing the best football you've probably ever played, I would say, in terms of your form at the moment. But what was it like to have two massive rejections in your life? Do you know what I mean? Two cup finals, you've been dropped, to go on to play for St Johnstone and winning the Scottish Cup in 2013-14 season. That must have been incredible.
It was amazing. It was actually, it couldn't have gone any better. Couldn't have gone any better. That season I played, St Johnstone had 50 competitive games. I played in all 50 of them.
Yeah.
And it was just what I wanted to do. It's like I wanted to play football. That's all I wanted to do was play football and enjoy myself. And that season I did. Can't remember. I got quite a few assists that season. I scored a few goals, not as many as I would hope. But wasn't it 9 that season either? No, it wasn't. But no, it was such a great season, and just to go on get to the cup final, and I was like, right, surely I've got to be involved in this one. But no, I'd played most of the season, so I was confident I was going to be involved, and to get named in the starting 11 was even better. And then to go on and win it was just for my boyhood club, for where I grew up, and the size of the club to go and do that sort of achievement. Never won it before. It was just amazing, actually amazing. How
many fans were there that day? Was it?
Sure, it was 15. 15 from St Johnstone, 15,000.
Yeah.
The only little disappointing thing about it wasn't at Hampden. Yeah. I always said that it was you want to play at the Hampden, you want to play at the National Stadium and lift the trophy, but don't take anything away from St Johnstone winning the Scottish Cup. I mean, St Johnstone fans will never stop talking about it because it's one of the best achievements the club's had.
Yeah, no, I can remember seeing your face and to go through those hard times, and it must have been quite sweet just to do it so quick after leaving him.
It was. It was a massive achievement for the club and for myself personally after the years that I'd been through. I felt like it was just meant to be, and it was great. I just remember after the whistle going, I just broke down. I'm sure I broke down in tears, and I couldn't help it. It was massive, and it's always going to be massive in my career and my whole life basically.
I think
because that's what you want to do.
Well, exactly. I think every sports person or sports they play to win something, don't you? To achieve something, and to win something as big as that with the history behind it is a great achievement for such a small club as well. Yeah,
you could see what it meant to the fans after the game and during the game, even leading up to the game, you could see what it meant to them. Like they were just absolutely buzzing about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But they didn't get carried away. Everyone thought Dundee United would be the winning team, and we were the underdogs going into it. So it just made it even sweeter to go and lift the cup on that day, and to have family around me. And Mia was my oldest daughter. She was just born at that time, and I was able to get her and Sophie onto the park. And I got interviewed. I'm sure I got interviewed by Sky Sports after the game with Mia in my arms. And it was just something I always look back on and always be proud of.
And how was Tommy Wright? Was your manager there and met most of the manager at St Johnstone? Was he good for your career as well? Did you enjoy playing under him?
Yeah, he was great. He was always honest with me. It's what I really liked about him.
Yeah,
he was really honest with me. He told me when I was playing and when I was not playing. Like if he was wanting to rest me or he was going with another option, he would always tell me to let me know. And that was you'd rather know what's happening than be in the dark, and I appreciated that all the time. And he believed in my ability, and he played me throughout his time that he was there, and he always wanted to re-sign me when my contract was coming to an end. He was always being there early, trying to get me to sign up again.
In terms of St Johnstone, mate, and the teams you've played in, you 240 caps for St Johnstone. What's the best team you played in? What season has it been? Is it the current group of lads, or is it with the lads that won the Scottish Cup? Or so obviously this year you're not 10, 11 games unbeaten at the moment this year, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, this year, yes, we're going on a good run at the moment. Obviously, we prefer to have won a bit more games than we have, but we're going on a good run at the moment. But it's hard to pick sort of one squad. But because we've just got a new manager, and it's a completely different style of football. And it's one that I'm really enjoying. I think everyone's really enjoying. Fans, players, staff, everyone involved. I think are really enjoying the football that we're playing at the moment. And it's difficult to pick one squad, but the the sort of team we've got today, the sort of togetherness that we've got, and the sort of dressing rooms is brilliant at the moment. But looking back on the squads we've had with the players we've had, it was it was throughout the whole team. There was constant players throughout it. There was never that year where it all changed. It was always different. Apart from this year, where we brought in a few players and a few folk have left. So maybe that first season was probably, the cup winning side. You can't get any better.
Yeah, of course.
But at the moment, the squad that we've got is brilliant, and it's young, it's youthful, and it's promising at the same time. And
you've obviously now you've transformed now as a player. You're like you mentioned, you're 30, right? So you've got young lads coming through. Have you seen your role as a mentor? And do you help? What's it like for you now?
Yeah, I'm obviously getting on now.
But,
no, I've been in the game several years now, so it's my roles changed, my responsibilities have changed, and I think back to when I was young and how players helped me or didn't help me, and I'll look to do that for young players that are coming through, and just talking to them like about anything.
Yeah,
just having a word with them would just be like, oh, he's speaking to me. That's how I used to feel. It's like, oh, the first team player's speaking to me. That's great. Like, he wants to speak to me. He wants to know what I'm doing or what I've been up to, or how I think, talking about football or just any little given thing. I think that's appreciated a lot by youngsters, and that's what I'll look to do. And I'm trying to do my coaching badges now, so I'll definitely. It's definitely something that I'll look to in the future.
Good. I was going to say, you're flying this year, actually, 6 goals already. The career high for you is 9. I take it you're going to achieve that quite comfortably this year. You're looking for 10 to 15?
Didn't jinx it. Honestly, I've been looking for that 10 for my whole career. Just the double figures would be nice.
Are you still taking free kicks or not? Or have you been binned off that these days? Have you?
Well, aye, I've been binned off free kicks because I'm terrible at them. But no, Craig Conway's come in, and he can deliver a ball, and the free kicks are class. Like the one against Hamilton recently, he battered that right in the top corner, and it just shows his ability from dead balls.
So that's goosed on that front.
I'm goosed on the set pieces. I even got shoved off a penalty the other week as well when I was on my hat trick. So that was gutting.
Whose decision was that?
Well, I wanted to take it, but my teammate, he's a striker, and he hadn't scored this season, and I felt like he wanted a goal. He was desperate for it. So I was like, let him take it. Let him score.
Who's the best player that's been in a St Johnstone shirt since you've been there? Technically? Or just the best all round best player?
All-round best player that's been in a St Johnstone shirt. Oh, Dave Mackay was probably the best player.
Aye.
Dave Mackay is consistent. Yeah. So consistent. He was absolutely brilliant. And a great leader of the team as well. He was just passionate about it, and he wanted to win every game, and he could hit a dead ball as well. He was brilliant at free kicks. But no, he was so consistent, and he was brilliant. And when I played on the right with him, he was great to play with as well, because he knew where he was going to be or what he was going to do. So he's certainly probably the best player I've played with, St Johnstone shirt.
And before I go to my quick fire questions, how do you see the next 10 years for David Wotherspoon? What do you want to do after football or follow the next couple of seasons?
Well, I feel like I've got a lot of legs left in me.
Some would say different, but never mind.
I'm not the quickest, but I'll run all day.
Well, me and Craig always, there's a little bit of pace lacking there. You've always had technical ability, but just an extra yard, mate, you've been playing for Man United.
Wouldn't go that far, but aye. If I had a bit of pace, I would be, with my trickery, I would cause a few defences some problems.
Yeah.
But no, obviously I'm playing as much as I can till I can't move my legs anymore. I love playing football, and it's what I've done throughout my whole life, basically. I absolutely love it, and But as I said, I'm trying to do my coaching badges now, so I want to pass that on
Good.
to young boys that are coming through, and I feel like I'm in a great position as well because I've got staff and team around me that can help me develop my skills as a coach. And it's something that's actually, like, when you get into it, it's completely different from being a footballer, and you're just actually blown away of how many things they've got to do and what they've got to remember, and it's so different to being a player. And it's something I want to get involved in over the next few years.
Good, mate. I'll go to my quick fire questions, right? So I just want pure honesty here, nice and sharp. So, best player you've ever played with?
Played with? Alphonso Davies.
Who's he? Oh, is that the guy who plays for Brazil?
Oh my God! Come on.
Is that the lad who plays for Canada? Is it?
It is. Aye.
Is he good? Aye.
He's not bad. It's not bad.
Did he play the Champions League final?
I'm sure he did. I'm sure. Did he not win it?
I think he might have. Aye. Fair enough. Aye, that's a good shout. I was hoping like Murrowins or Zamama, or you know what I mean, like Stuart Craig or someone. Some of that.
Big Soul Bamba.
Big Soul, what a player! Jesus,
what a player!
He's still playing these days, and he's a championship player, is he?
I think he's been injured, but I'm not sure.
What a man for Hibs he was. Right, best player you've ever played against?
Oh, played against? Gylfi Sigurdsson.
Oofed. When was that?
Yeah, that was when I was playing the Scotland 21s.
Right.
We played Iceland playoffs. It was in the playoffs to qualify for the competition. And Iceland we played over there, lost 2-1, came over here and lost 2-1 at Easter Road. And Sigurdsson scored 2 absolute worldies in that game at Easter Road, and he'll never be forgotten. He was playing the number 10. He was just
dominating.
Incredible, absolutely incredible.
Young talent always shines out from a young age, isn't it? Best atmosphere.
Going back to your last question though, I remember playing against Kevin De Bruyne once. Aye. He was only 17. He was only 17 at the time, and he was a joke, absolute joke. Couldn't get near him.
Guess who would get near him? Russell Latipi. What a player he was! I tell you, that's my favourite of all time for the Hibs.
Aye. John Hughes would just wipe him out.
Yogi, it was actually. I know you'd rather be interviewed by Cy Ferry than me, but you've got to deal with that. But I'm pretty sure Yogi talked stories about Latipi smoking the tabs and that, and loved it. So
I heard a couple of those before. Aye, I'm not sure how they went down, but aye, he certainly said he was a very relaxed type of guy.
What best atmosphere, mate? Where was the best atmosphere you played? Celtic Park, is it, or
best atmosphere I've played? Yeah, Celtic Park, but in the cup final. Was it? Yeah. St Johnstone, the Scottish Cup final, we won. That atmosphere was incredible that day. You could hear it, and it was such a great thing to be a part of, and yeah, just an incredible atmosphere.
Class. Worst player you played with?
Worst player I played with? Ooh.
And this could be for, technical ability, their finishing, their passing, or just the footballing ability.
Oh, that's a terrible question. Terrible question.
We'll leave that one, mate, since you don't want to be too controversial. Who's got the worst banter?
Worst banter, apart from myself. In the Saints dressing room.
Aye.
Liam Craig.
Is he bad, is he?
His banter's terrible, aye.
That's what Churn said. He's a borderland like myself, and they wonder
his favourite one is what's his favourite one again? If I want to I can't remember it now.
It must be that bad you can't remember.
It's that bad, aye. If I want to listen to an arsehole, I would have farted.
Oh God, brilliant! Who's best manager?
Best manager? What to play with?
No, he played under.
Played under. There's not been that many. But I'm really enjoying my time at the moment with the new gaffer. He's been brilliant with me, and I worked obviously with him as assistant manager. But going on long term, I would obviously go with Tommy Wright, because he done so much for my career in the time that he was there.
Wouldn't let you off to go on your mate's wedding and stuff like that, though. You'd be too scared to ask him these sort of questions, weren't you?
Oh aye.
I was going to say favourite golf club in the golf bag, but to be honest, you're usually carrying me at golf, so you've always had to score back.
Aye, I've got to take a couple of extra balls just to help you.
Usually.
Favourite club in the bag. Got to be my 7-iron.
Aye.
Always par threes, and got to be my 7-iron.
You do take that sort of sportsman mentality in the golf course. I do like it. I've not seen you score too many. I think
very competitive.
We're a good team. You usually carry me, I swear, and you just keep a cool head. So it's
you turn up in a hole in every now and then. You like to finish well as well.
All the gear, no idea, mate.
After we won the game, you start to play.
Exactly. Pressure's off. Well, listen, mate. I'd just like to say thanks very much for that. It was a good insight into your career and the sort of the low times, but then in the high times as well. So I appreciate that. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you asking me the questions, and I hope it's useful for other people watching. And just really enjoyed my career and hope it continues.
Good man. Cheers, mate.